Welcome to the Cool Fireman Podcast, a virtual firehouse kitchen table with What's a Rolfie, Unki, Fireman 1231, JDB Cubed, and Fireman Freddy. Let's get to the show.
Hey, welcome back, everybody. This is going to be episode 7 of the Cool Fireman Podcast. I'll be your host this week, JDB Cubed. This week, we teased you a little bit last week talking about what we're going to talk about some cancer stuff and some numbers that are probably going to blow your mind as to how prevalent cancer is in the fire service. And it's not about if you're going to get cancer, it's about when and what kind. So that being said, welcome. Nick finally was able to join us today. He's getting some stuff prepped. Look like for the Super Bowl. Look like some ribs he's got going there. I see some. Is that some Blazing Star you got there, Nick?
Heck yeah.
Yeah, I'm telling y'all, the Blazing Star pork rub. Now I've been seeing a lot of pork rubs, and they're all good, but by far my favorite is the Blazing Star.
Sweet.
I'm telling you, this stuff is good.
Shout out Blazing Star.
Mike, you owe us $1.
Yeah, at least, or some pork rub, one of the two.
Pork rub's where it's at.
Yeah, for sure. So I told y'all earlier, Super Bowl Sunday, we're recording episode 6, 7, and 8 today. This is going to be number 7. We're going to talk about cancer and cancer statistics in the fire service. I led you in last week talking about washing your gear and washing your body and being really hyper vigilant about carcinogens. I was trying to think of a good 50-cent word there. So
nailed it.
That being said, Unki, I want you to start this off a little bit. Being a federal guy, and we'd already talked about the PFAS stuff. I've got some numbers I'll go over in a minute, but I want you to. We talked a little bit pre-show before we started recording about a couple of things and where you personally rank nationally in a statistic that you're probably not proud of.
One hand, yes. One hand, no. Well,
We're number one.
Being with the federal government, we deal with
Harvard's number one.
We deal with a lot of different things than we'll say you city guys do. We had to fight with legislation to get certain blood testing done for PFAS and PFOS, which is a forever chemical that is in AFFF foam. It's on your dinnerware. It's Scotch Guard. Anybody Scotch Guard stuff? It has it. 3M has it. It's in a lot of your everyday materials. But it's in
turnout gear that we used to wear.
Yes, your turnout gear has these elements in it. So PFAS, we get our blood tested, and we're working with the International Association of Firefighters with reporting these numbers to them. And let's see, I just got my report. I'm in, as of this past summer, I was actually number 3 in North America with the highest levels of PFAS, forever chemical, in my body. And according to a small study,
not good.
Yes. You're only supposed to, is usually less than 5.8. And my number is only 13. And I'm slowly going down the top 10 or top 5 lists. We have guys with 30 in there with the numbers, some in their 20s. So it's a forever chemical. It's in your body. It's bad stuff. Here locally, we had a plane crash, F-18 a couple years ago. We call it the Good Friday crash. It was the perfect airplane crash. We had a fighter jet go down in the city of Virginia Beach and landed in a courtyard of an apartment complex.
Oh no!
And that whole apartment complex, nobody was home. It was just perfect timing. Wow. The pilots ejected. They were like a neighborhood 2 over. They were fine, a little banged up. But a tremendous amount of foam was dumped there, and just a small handful of those firefighters received cancer in the city of Virginia Beach. And they all traced it back. I'm trying to remember. I think it was 3 of them. They all came in together as firefighters, and they were all there at that scene. One is terminal. The other one's got the cancer taken care of. It hasn't come back. The other one's still dealing with it. So it's bad stuff. I don't know. I know we talked about it. Now I'm kind of like forgetting about it. All the stuff about it.
But you hit the gist of what I was talking about how the 5.8, number is where you you need to be under, and then you're double that, and then there's a couple of guys above you that are 6 times that. I mean, that's absurd.
In the city of Virginia, in the city of
Okay.
Virginia Beach has gotten rid of foam. They had taken off the trucks. They made their foam pumps inoperable. They don't use it no more. They have a high expansion foam team. I don't know if that seems still available, an option with that city, but that foam, if your truck's ever pumped foam, it doesn't even have to ever pump it. It's leaking. Everybody's pump leaks. So that's getting into the normal hand line, and you're out there cleaning it up. You're touching it. I get my numbers. I blame my numbers on early in my career. I was part of the foam team. And so I was sitting there, and I'm a smoker. So I got it on my hands. I'm pouring it on there. I'm smoking a cigarette. I'm touching my face, touching cigarettes. I was all in it. We weren't taught anything. This is really kind of new in the past couple of years. So it just got everywhere on us. My brother has non-Hodgkin lymphoma. He's on his city's foam team. He went to foam school, had it all over him, playing with it, having a good old time with foam. Didn't think nothing of it. He got non-Hodgkin lymphoma cancer. So,
good time to interject. Non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, men in the fire service, men and women, firefighters, are 51% more likely to contract, or I don't know what the appropriate term is, grow, whatever, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. 51% greater than the general public. And for those, let's circle back for just a second to talking about foam. For those who don't know what we're talking about, firefighting foam, you had various types throughout the years. And obviously in specialty stations, such as airport rescue for jet fuel and things like that. I know our airport station has a different type of foam, but typical Class A firefighting foam, it reduces, scientifically, it reduces the surface tension of water. So it makes the water cling to the surface just a little bit longer. So think about when you're washing your car. If you just spray water on your car, it runs off. However, when you put a soapy material in it, which is what foam acts like, it'll cling to that car, and the soap runs down a lot slower than just the water does. So when we're fighting a house fire, we'll put this Class A foam in it, and it allows the water to, some people say penetrate better. Some people say cling to the material better. It just allows that water to stay on the surface just a little bit longer, to saturate better and seep deeper into the materials, to hopefully put the fire out faster and prevent flare-ups and get the temperature down below a flash point.
Makes the water go further.
Right. It stretches your water.
Cuts the oxygen off to the flame.
Yeah. It basically forms a barrier, and it kind of prevents that fire from growing. So
it almost films in aqueous foam.
Yeah.
That's what AFFF. Aqueous film forming foam.
That's right. That's what it stands for. But for those of you who didn't know what we're talking about, that's what we're talking about. Matt, what let me back up just a second. I chose this topic this week because my mother died of cancer when I was 12 years old in 1992 of breast cancer. My father died in 2015 of liver and lung cancer. My closest uncle died of cancer. Both of my mother-in-laws are cancer survivors. My wife's grandfather was a cancer survivor. Cancer is very near and dear to me, and it's a big deal for me. I tell my wife all the time, it's not a matter of when I'm going to get cancer, like I said at the beginning of the show, or if I'm going to get it. It's when and what kind. So I personally have taken a great initiative in trying to keep myself as clean as possible around the fire station, and to avoid carcinogens as much as humanly possible. I didn't think it was a big deal at first, but the more research and data that proves that wrong, you can't deny the science. It is what it is. And it's obviously cancer runs in my family for whatever reason. And I don't know the heredity statistics of it, but cancer is a big deal. And it's something I'm going to get at some point in my life. Thankfully, my department's really proactive about cleaning and getting our physicals done and blood work and stuff. I actually do it twice a year instead of once. It kind of gives it to you every year on your birth month. And I do it 6 months after that as well with my PCP, just to kind of stay ahead of it. So hopefully when I get cancer of whatever type, it's caught as early as possible, and it gives me my greatest chance of survival.
Your modifiable risk factors.
Right. You do what you can to, your force multipliers and stuff. You do what you can to fight against that. Matt, chime in here. What you got?
I mean,
Prop 65.
What's that?
Prop 65.
Prop 65. Yeah. California. Yeah. We do our best to try to limit, exposure. We a few years ago we bought a new Pierce engine, and we started trying to adhere to the clean cab concept, where with all of our frontline engines, all of them, we have 4, but we're moving stuff around in order to be able to fit our turnout gear into an outside compartment. All of our BAs are now outside in a different compartment.
BAs being breathing apparatus, y'all.
Yeah, all of our SCBAs, our breathing apparatus, are outside. What else do we do? We had a captain who just recently retired within the last few years, who became big into the cancer world, and he goes to Florida for conferences and stuff like that. And he got big into it, brought us these buckets for decon. And we preach, just as much as you guys do, about culture. And it's a cultural thing. It's a tradition thing, right? I think you texted all of us, it's a badge of honor, or I forget what the term was that you used, but
yeah, it used to be cool.
Soot is not a badge of honor.
Yeah.
It used to be cool.
Yeah, it used to be cool.
To have your helmet brazed, a color, and not yellow anymore, or red, whatever color helmet you have. So we have rescue wipes. I believe that's the brand that we have, and they're in all of our engines. Huh?
Responder wipes or rescue wipes?
I can't remember. I don't remember the exact, and that's horrible that I don't, because that means I don't really use them that often. But after a fire, or any type of exposure that we're going to have, we're expected to do mass decon and spray ourselves down, and then we're trying to push through to the city to get us a second set of full turnouts, flash hood, even the inner liner to our helmets, that we can swap out. Our department's really good about anytime that we believe that we need to get our turnouts cleaned, we bag them up. Someone sends an email, hey, turnout maintenance is going to be here on such day, get your turnouts here, and they'll clean them and they'll have them back to you within a week. So we all have a secondary set that are typically like right at that 10-year mark, on expiring turnouts. So that's kind of what we do. It's still working into our culture, and it's up to us to get the new guys and this new generation to adopt that culture of safety and decon, and that cancer is a real thing. I think Unki, you had mentioned off the air about something about our rating going up, or maybe that was Fred.
Yes.
No,
it was
Unki read it, but
it's the International Agency for Cancer. It's classified firefighting as a carcinogenic to humans group number 1, which is the highest hazard rating with exposures of combustible products, diesel exhaust, building material, asbestos, chemicals, shift work, and ultraviolet radiation. Basically, we went from a 2B or 2A to group 1, which is, in other words, this job will kill you.
Right. And that's gnarly. Coming from California, capital G here, that is insane. Insane numbers. That's the classification that is basically telling you enter this job, but you have a much higher percentage. I don't want to spit out numbers, I don't know, but of getting cancer and dying at an early age. And what do we all hope? We all hope to put in a 30-year career, possibly, depending on what, when you get in, and then to live 30 years after you retire, to enjoy, the fruits of your labor. So.
And it's not just fire calls either. It's, of course, like Nick with hazmat, he does that stuff. So you got your own problems with dealing with the hazmat stuff. But basically they tell you that you smell smoke or diesel exhaust. All of our, 99% of our trucks are diesel.
Yeah.
If you smell that exhaust, you're being exposed to carcinogens.
So do you guys have primal vents?
We're getting.
I got something. Well.
Yeah. What do you got?
Yeah. What you got?
Let me ask y'all this. Yes, we fight fire, and yes, we're exposed to carcinogens. But what's one thing that we're all really good at and we do every day?
We smoke food.
Cleaning products.
Yeah.
Yeah. Every fire department cleans.
Who uses 409?
Yeah.
I think every fire station uses 409 or bleach, chlorine. I mean,
Fantastic.
all that. Yeah, that's good stuff. All that stuff that because we clean every morning. I think it's pretty. We clean every morning. We mop, we sweep, wipe down the commodes, all that good stuff. So I mean, I'm not saying you need to go in there masked up, suited up to clean the bathrooms. But maybe we can take a few, like turn ventilation, like turn the fan on, open the doors, make sure you're airing out when you mop and stuff like that. Yeah, pine salt smells great, but I mean, you're also breathing in harsh chemicals, and it may not hurt you now, but 300 days out of the year for, let's say, 30 minutes a day, that stuff adds up. It takes little nicks on your body.
Yeah. Nick, while you're going, why don't you? What kind of stuff does your department do for decon wise?
We have what called cancer buckets.
Yeah.
It's a black bucket with our patch on it, and basically it's got wipes, like shower wipes. I don't know what brand they are, but they're like the rescue wipes or whatever. You come out, and basically they'll rinse you off with the booster nozzle. You take your mask, dunk it, clean it, and all that stuff. I will say this: there is a policy on it that we're supposed to be using it when you come out, but it's one of them things. It's like the Pearson nozzle. It's on the truck.
Yeah.
It doesn't get used like it should. I can tell you this: the fire we had the other night. Granted, it was in a vacant structure. It was bent. You can tell it was abandoned because it was grown up in the woods. We had a few guys kind of not really go in, but kind of inch their way in to just try to get some of the spots where the walls are. And our captain's big on the whole being clean, and he's like, when you go to rehab, we've set the cancer bucket up. Go ahead and if you're gonna smoke your cigarette or spit your Copenhagen and get some Gatorade, go ahead and clean your crap while you're there.
Yeah.
There's somebody there who will help you.
Nick, kind of off our last episode, how big is your department?
Like station wise?
How many stations, how many square miles do you know off the top of your head?
Square miles, I'd have to look it up. We have 17 stations.
Well, that's a pretty big area then.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Cumberland County is, butts up to Fort Bragg. So very booming economy, very large area.
Doug wants to make sure that he's the biggest fire department on
No.
the show.
No, not at all. I know I am.
You got to listen to the last episode.
If you want to brag about how many more EMS runs you make,
no,
happy for you.
No, I was going to that to get to this. Matt mentioned them. You guys don't have a second set of gear, right, Matt? You have to requisition that when you need it.
No. Well, we're trying to just get all brand new, So we're trying to.
So your second set's just really old. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Where I was going with that was do you have in your possession two sets of turnouts so you can wash one?
Yeah.
And put a clean one on.
Yeah.
Freddie, you got a really small department. What are you guys doing?
So I'm pretty fortunate with the department that I work for now. We actually have a pretty good tax base. The citizens are super supportive of us. However, there might be people out there, hopefully this doesn't come as a shock to anybody, but a new set of turnout gear, bunker pants, boots, helmet, coat, hood, gloves, what have you, you're looking at like $1,900 for a set right now of turnout gear. I have 33 guys and girls on my department, so that math adds up really quickly. And with me having a little over a year and a few months on this new department, I completely understand their hesitance to be like, all right, hey, here's two brand new sets of gear for you to use and what have you. I have a brand new set that they got me. I think it came when I had like 8 months on or what have you. And they're starting to get some guys who have 7-8 years on. They're getting their second set. And the ideal nature of it is that your set of gear gets replaced roughly every 8 years. You get a new set, so there's always a rotation going on.
Yeah.
But
So you don't flirt with that 10-year mark.
Yeah, but it's expensive, man. And
yeah,
and there's turnaround times, and sometimes gear fails, so guys have to get a new jacket. So that's an unexpected expense. What it really comes down to is that we have done, previous department, this department is, hey, Steve, you're about the same size as me. Send him a text. Hey, I'm throwing your gear on the truck for an hour and a half. I'm gonna borrow your stuff. We just caught a fire, and I am going to use your gear until mine gets cleaned. So, outside of that, you got to do the best you can with the equipment that you have, because sometimes it's not going to be the perfect situation that you can just, I'll use my second set of gear that I have or whatever, because there's budget limitations and what have you.
I got Freddie. Freddie, let me ask you something. You talk about budget stuff and like let's call it low income rural fire departments.
For sure.
A lot of these volunteer fire departments don't have gear extractors or gear washers. Can you, because I'm sure we have quite a few volunteer firemen listen to our podcast. Can you give them a cheap, economical way, if you can't wash your gear in a washer dryer, what's a way they could get rid of all that soot and crud off their stuff?
Yeah, for you guys that Nick, I know you work at a volunteer station. Do some of your volunteer guys, or your paid departments, do they allow them to bring their gear there and wash it in their gear washers? Or Freddie, or do you want to touch on maybe how to do it without a gear washer the best you can?
So just as a precursor to this is this is strictly my opinion. As a podcast, we're not getting paid. I'm not getting paid for this. This is just a company that I've run into that I offered to help them out a little bit. She actually started out using responder wipes. It's basically a baby wipe that you wipe the stuff off. She's rebranded herself. It's Thin Red Line Decon now, and under her umbrella now she has different products, and one of those products is called Citro Squeeze. And Citro Squeeze is something that my department uses. It's a specific detergent, Tide, All, Kirkland brand, what have you, and it's made for cleaning turnout gear, removing that nasty stuff out of the turnout gear. Having a gear extractor is ideal. Like Nick said, some of these smaller departments, they don't have the capability to buy a $5,000 gear extractor. So my suggestion is look them up, Citro Squeeze, get yourself a 5-gallon jug of it, make up a bucket, get yourself a scrub brush, separate all your gear out, scrub it up with a scrub brush, and then spray it off with a hose, and then hang it up to dry. When you're looking for the ideal situation, you got 2 sets of gears, you got a gear extractor, you got this, you got that. When you don't have that ideal situation, then you make do with what you have. You scrub up your gear. Not having the means, I don't think, is a good reason to just get cancer. If that makes sense to you.
No, absolutely not.
There's always workarounds. There's always ways to try and accomplish a goal. You obviously always want to try and be effective and efficient. Effective.
Okay.
But there's always more than one way to skin a cat, if you will.
Don't wash it at home in your personal washing machine and dryer. Don't. I was told as a volunteer to take it down to the laundromat.
Oh my God!
Please don't do it.
He said, "Don't do it at home. Go to the laundromat and do it."
The whole town has cancer now.
Well, yeah, everybody's got cancer.
It's called a snowball. That's called the snowball effect.
Yeah,
The Unki effect.
So back to we were talking about department size and gear washers and stuff. Obviously, I work for the biggest department of us 5, and most I'm not, that's not a flex, bro. That is not a flex.
Congratulations. You go to more lift assists and chest pains than falling. I've fallen and I can't
Kiss
get
my
up.
ass.
Here you go, Doug.
Yeah, that's me. 16
Doug
times.
To be fair, if we had an ambulam running out of our fire station, we'd probably smoke y'all.
Shut up. All right. What
Say it
I'm
again,
getting
Doug.
at,
Let's see what happens. Say
what
it
I'm
again.
getting at is because of the size of my department, we have
There it
access
is.
to more funds, right? So everybody gets 2 sets of gear out of drill school. You only get 1 helmet, but you got 2 sets of gear, and most of our stations.
Oh, knee knocker.
Most of our stations have gear washers now. There was a time where they were kind of spread out throughout the county, but I'm pretty sure we've gotten to the point where everybody has one now. And again, back to you guys talking about your buckets. We have a bucket on each unit. It's called the tag bucket. The toxic atmosphere group is what it was. And it's got Dawn dish soap, a scrub brush, some trash bags, and we use Gojo wipes to do your face and neck and stuff and your hands. And then you doff all your gear, you put it in a clear plastic bag, and it gets stored outside or in an outside compartment on the way back to the station. And you immediately tear that gear apart and wash it and use your second set of gear. Some quick numbers. I know we're starting to run a little long. We can talk about this forever, but the gist of it was just to wash your crap. So let's talk about the numbers, and then we'll talk about those a little bit. So the average citizen and their cancer rates versus how many more times likely someone in the fire service is to get it. Brain cancer, 32%. Skin cancer, 39%. Malignant melanoma, 32%. Stomach, 22%. Colon, 21%. Prostate is a big one for us. It's only 28%, but it seems like a lot higher because a lot of guys that I know are getting
the prostate.
Yeah. And I'll talk about why in a minute. Multiple myeloma is 53%. Unki said his brother, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma is 51%. Here's the biggest one. Actually, let's get to this one first. Rectal, 29%. And the biggest, which ties right into prostate, the biggest is testicular at 102%. Now, this one's really going to blow your mind. For the females, cervical cancer, 300% more likely to get cervical cancer. So the reason is
than the average public.
Correct, than the average public. Now, the reason that the prostate, the cervical, and the testicular are so high is because that's the hottest area of our body. When we got our turnout gear on, it gets the hottest. And obviously, the hotter areas are going to open your pores up, and they're going to want to pull in all those carcinogens because your pores are open. Your armpits, your neck is why we wipe our face and our neck off. All those areas that are going to get the hottest are going to absorb more of those chemicals. So that's why those areas are higher. Unki, is your brother, you said he's doing treatments right now? How's his prognosis?
He's, as right now, he is in the clear. He got his port taken out from doing chemo. Thank you. His department was great raising money. I raised money through my business, pay for treatments, but he did multiple rounds of chemo the past year. So he's slowly in the process right now returning to the floor. So he's trying to get all his checks in the box. So like I said, got port. He's pretty good.
I heard on the radio the other day, and I wish I'd excuse me. I wish I'd backed up and done some research on it. It was on LA in the morning for you local guys that listen, or Unki, I guess you might know that. That cancer survivors are up like 30-some%, and I forget if it was over 10 or 20-year period, but the survivability of cancer is much higher. And they were talking about whether that was because of early notification or the advancements in medicine or, what have you. And there's a lot of, we're not going to get into, how much money cancer.
It's not worth making those
right.
statements.
Is it because treatments have gotten better, we're recognizing it earlier, or is it because, like Nick was saying, chemicals, food, everything you have and touch nowadays has something in it that causes cancer? So is that number higher because more people are getting cancer and are getting recognized, and that's why the survivability? There's so much so many roads you could go. Yeah, there's so many numbers you could follow and chase that rabbit hole and just go down forever. But the long and short of that is your survivability rates are better today than ever, and I think they're going to continue to advance. But for people in the fire service, I just read you those numbers. If you're not getting a physical every year by your department, if your department's not giving you one, you need to go get one, hands down.
Proactive.
every health insurance policy that I'm aware of will give you one for free. You should get a free physical every year, regardless, with your health insurance. And if not, it's not going to cost that much. What is your life worth to you? You know?
I got something to add. Great website. The headquarters of resources is Firefighter Cancer Network. You go on there. There's all kinds of links to all kinds of firefighting cancer research that everybody works together. They actually came out with a list that you print out and you give it to your provider. And it's for your whole career. It'll say like, age 40, you need to do this and you get this checked and work with your provider to get it done. So that's one thing for screenings, but you got to really work with your modifiable risk factors. And there's 7 key figures out there. I'm sorry to cut. You got healthy and well-balanced diet and regular exercise, tobacco and alcohol use directly linked to cancer.
Yeah.
Occupational stress calls at all hours, the traumatic experiences. You need adequate sleep, protective laws and regulations. You got to limit your toxic chemical exposures and your department guidance.
Pause for effect.
We lost him.
Or like, that's just a little blurb.
Hey.
So.
Yeah, you paused for
me?
like 10 seconds there.
Okay. Probably was important.
Do it again. I just kidding.
So yeah, it's just there's so many risk factors and you just got to do what you can to slowly chip away at it.
Yeah, we could talk about this. I personally could talk about this for days. Cancer is a big deal to me. Again, it runs in my family. It's been extremely traumatic for my family. On my and my wife's side, her mother, my mother-in-law, just she just went through breast cancer treatment and a mastectomy late last year. But we could talk about this forever. But again, the end all be all is get yourself checked. Do what you can to avoid it. Do some research on things you can do to lessen your chances of it. Clean your stuff. Clean yourself. Don't hang out in a diesel particulate full environment. Matt mentioned the exhaust systems. I know my department, we're working on getting those and installing them in every station now. We didn't have any of them up until we just started talking about it. But I know a lot of the city departments do because space is limited and that kind of thing. What we've typically done is, when the unit pulls in, you leave the front and the back door open. Or if you have to back in, if it's only a one-way, you just leave the door open for a while and let the air circulate. And the ventilation system comes on with the timer, and it kind of creates an updraft. But anyway, do what you can to minimize your risk, that kind of stuff. And you guys got anything else you want to close with, or have we kind of hit the upper crust of it?
Yep. Just make sure you're taking care of yourself.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to, man. It's your life, it's your family's, livelihood, that kind of stuff. Don't give you don't want to. Nobody wants cancer. It's miserable. I mean, everybody that I know of, everybody has been touched by cancer in some way. And if you've been close enough to it to not just see a relative, get cancer and pass away from it, but to be close enough to see what they have to go through and the struggle of every day when it's bad. It's bad. All right. So it's not something anybody wants to deal with. So do what you can to avoid it. Nick, were you trying to say something? You're just showing us your beautiful face.
I know you guys have those guys and gals who get back late at night from a fire and skip the shower and hop straight back into bed.
I went to recruit school. I went to drill school with a guy who every time he runs a fire, when he gets back to the station, before he showers, he'll get on the treadmill and run a while and sweat to open his pores up. Now I don't know the research on this, but I've heard guys talking about saunas after jobs. Now I don't know what kind of departments have them or who has them, whatever, but I've heard that, getting in that hot environment to open everything back up and then getting in the shower, it statistically washes off more particulate because you're opening, instead of your pores being closed from, whatever, and then just wiping the skin, you're actually getting, a little deeper. But that's something we could talk about at a later date. So, that being said, good episode, good information put out today. That was awesome.
What's your recipe like?
The pigs are back.
Yeah.
The pigs look bigger.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, they're a little bigger. So this is released. This is, I believe, going to be Jenny. And this is Kenny or Kendall's. She hasn't named it yet.
Penny?
But they're both females. So Kendall, my daughter, this is her friend Addison. This is our shortstop. They spent the night here last night. And that's Kat. That's Catherine. She's our second baseman. Say hi, Kat. Hey.
Hello.
Anyway, I told y'all it's Super Bowl Sunday, so I'm making my chicken wings today because everybody loves them. I'm not going to get into too much detail about how to cook them because I can talk about that for a long time. It's going to be posted to the website. I'll post the actual recipe that I use for the sauce. That's the best part of it. And you can cook them how you want. Everybody has a preference. Some people like them fried hard. Some people like them smoked, baked, what have you. I bake mine in the oven, but I do bake them hard. So I'll rotate the pan or get the grease out of the pan and turn them over. Because as long as they're baking in the oven, if they're baking in oil and water that comes out of the wing, they're never going to get crispy.
Mm-hmm.
I like my wings crispy, and I just, like I said, I bake them hard or fry them hard because the sauce is going to put some moisture back in them. So I'll post that. I promise you're going to love them. They're phenomenal. Rookie tip this week is going to the West Coast. Matt, what you got?
West Coast, baby. So my rookie tip today is just like one of the first things I tell a rookie when they come in, if I have any influence on him or her, is that what you're about to endure for this year is a lot. You have a lot to learn in this year. And so it's a marathon, not a sprint. And so take it one step at a time. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I mean, we all pretty much, maybe a different culture, but it's, the same circus, different clowns. We have like 10 different passwords. I don't know if you guys, your IT department has exploded, but now all of a sudden we've got 20 character passphrases to even log in to run a call now. And then they say it's got to text your phone. You got to put in, we're like, dude, we just want to run a 911 call.
I keep them on my phone.
What I'm getting at is like, you got 10 passwords to learn how to use your email. From that to worrying about cooking, to worrying about training, to worrying about everything else, fitting in. It's a marathon, not a sprint. And everybody knows that. We're going to pressure you as if it was a sprint, but take it as a marathon. Just some words of advice. Just take it easy and just know it's a ton of stuff to learn.
Take it easy, baby.
Take it easy.
Take it easy, okay?
What do you got? Nick got something to say.
I was asking Doug, are we drinking already or?
That's the nectar of God, sir.
Sundra.
I got Starry.
Yeah, I saw you pop that. How is it? Is it taste like Sprite? I've been seeing it everywhere.
No, it don't taste like Sprite. It's got, when it says
Sierra Mist.
Burst of lemon lime flavor, it's like that's spot on because it's good. I like it.
It's very fruity. I've been seeing it everywhere.
They rebranded Sierra Mist. That's all they did.
We're not talking about sugar, man.
I think they put more lemon in it.
Is that what it is? Unki, is it Sierra Mist?
It's pretty much Sierra Mist. They probably a little bit of formula change, but they also make a zero version of it, no sugar.
Oh,
really? That's what I need to find.
What are we doing?
Yeah.
We're talking about
almost the same label.
Sugary
Find
drinks,
that.
Frederick. All right, that's all we got. Matt, you want to take us out?
You guys.
Yeah, hey, it's shift change.
Bye.
I'm switching into my civvies and I am peacing out. Until next time.
Slip on the hey dudes.
Hey, follow us, subscribe.